Hi guys, my name is Greg the Bug Burke, and I'll be reviewing and giving advice and tactics for different Warhammer 40k armies. My main army are the Tyranid, so I'm going to start you off with some tactica regarding monstrous creatures. I don't know if a lot of you have played monstrous creatures before, but they are actually very scary on the table, and they tend to be bullet magnets, which is a pain for someone trying to get them sluggishly across the board into combat or otherwise. There's a major way to make them much more effective on the battlefield and make your opponent hesitate to fire at them with lace cannons, railguns, basically anything that's stronger than a strength 6 that is AP 3 or less. Those things will just rip apart through any monstrous creature you have on the board, no matter how many points it is. This first tactic is something I recommend to everyone who plays monstrous creatures, especially the Swarm Lord. The Swarm Lord is a gigantic HQ that literally can be killed in round 1 with enough firepower. Basically, rather than giving him 2 Tyrant Guard, which is a whopping 120 points, or even 3 at 180, they're 60 points apiece, they're a very expensive guard unit. I love to surround the Swarm Lord in gargoyles. For those of you who know, gargoyles are flying, and they can move 12 inches per movement phase, so they do a great job. And since they're flying, they give anything in front of it, behind them cover, including monstrous creatures, 50% of their base. Now, because they're flying, anything in front of the gargoyle, such as gaunts, warriors, will not give the gargoyles a cover save, but the monstrous creature they are surrounding will definitely get a 4-up cover save. This is a very, very, very useful tactic. I use it a lot, especially when I take the Swarm Lord. Think of it as like a bodyguard retinue. It's either they can waste 4 or 6 lace cannon shots on the gargoyles, or they can try to shoot the Hive Tyrant and him get a 4-up cover save. Very helpful, very unique. I don't many people play this, but if you take a monstrous creature and you want him to survive on his way into combat with something slow like a Carnifex or a Hive Tyrant or a Swarm Lord, surround them in gargoyles. Think of it as a bodyguard unit that just protects them. Secondly, try not to make them vastly overpriced. It's really easy to start adding upgrades, and before you know it, you have a 300-point Hive Tyrant that's going to get killed basically in one round from Ranger, Lace Cannon, or Railgun fire. Basically, any anti-tank weapon will take out a monstrous creature. Basically, you just try to get them in cover. Basically, try to keep them in cover at all times if you can. If they do end up out in the open, make sure that there is not enough cannon fire to kill them during your opponent's next shooting phase. Another very interesting tactic to do is Deep Strike in all these monstrous creatures, because as you know, the Trigon, Marlock, and the Carnifexes can Deep Strike in via Maionic Spore or Reserve, as the Trigon and Marlock can. This is very useful, especially if a lot of their heavy fire is on the other side of the board and you want them to quickly turn around and focus on something large. But again, it is a hefty cost for a bullet magnet that's going to survive probably 1, maybe 2 if you're lucky rounds of shooting if they took a lot of heavy firepower, which usually the Space Marines and Tau have plenty of. Close combat. At all costs, you want to avoid the higher costing HQ units of your enemies. Anything that has a power fist, chain fist, anything that doubles their strength and gives them a power weapon is bad news for you. You're not going to get any save against this, unless you're a Swarm Lord, of course. But you're not going to get any save against these power weapons, and most likely these units have some type of impulse saver to protect them from your power weapons. So when using monstrous creatures, you want to try to tie up units that either can't hurt them or have a hard time hurting them. For example, I would not charge a Carnifex Brood into a squad of Terminators. I would not attack Eldar Harlequins with a Hive Tyrant. You want to tie up big units or go for vehicles, because that's what they really are. Monstrous creatures are vehicle killers. They smash apart and rip vehicles like they're tin cans. They will destroy a Land Raider if given the chance and opportunity to. Alright guys, this is my very first podcast, so I'm going to try to keep it short, under 6 minutes. My name is Greg the Bug Burke, and this has been Monstrous Creatures Tactica.